Hi friends, it's Sierra from Flora Fantastica, and today I want to show you 3 ways to propagate Monstera Adansonii, or the Swiss cheese plant. Okay, so first a little introduction to the plant. Monstera Adansonii, or the Swiss cheese plant. There's a lot of different varieties and species of Monstera, as well as Adansonii. So this one in particular has smaller leaves, and this is a narrow form. They also have a wide form. The holes, or the fenestrations in the leaf, are also going to vary depending on the subspecies and the variety. There's also other really cool ones, like this is a Blanchettii that I'm attempting to propagate. The leaves are supposed to get about 12 inches long. Hopefully, if I get roots, that will happen. So I'm going to show you how to propagate in water, soil, and perlite. Depending on what you have, use what you have. So come on, let's go. I'll show you. I'll show you now. All right, so it's pretty easy to see where to cut this Adansonii because there's actually aerial roots coming out from each of the nodes. You can see this one right here. So we want to cut about 1 inch or 2 below the aerial root. And so we're going to cut a few here because we have a leggy plant and we want to make more plants. So I'm actually going to turn this guy on its side, and I've got a pretty sharp box cutter right here. So I'm going to give this one a cut right here, just above the other one. And I actually have another one right here. And you want to make, it's important, I think, that you have a really, really sharp blade. That's super important. And we'll do one more right here. That's a tiny one. All right, so we have our 3 cuttings. And our plant is still perfectly fine. So we will start with the soil cutting. So the soil that I have is not super wet. It's not really hot out right now, and I found that if I'm getting my soil mixture too wet, it's not drying out enough. This is a pretty chunky mixture. It's got some lava rock, some perlite, coca coir, so it drains really well. There is no like regular soil in it. So when there's no regular soil, or whatever regular soil is, when there's no like soil from, you know, from the store in a bag, it's usually called soilless soil mixture thing. I don't know. All right, so I'm just going to put some of that in there. You could put rooting hormone on the bottom of that, but I'm just going to go ahead and put the soil in it. So ideally, this little baby is growing in a slightly humid area, and the soil's kept moist but not soggy, and bright indirect light. There we are. And somewhere warm. So if you give it all those things, it's gonna grow its roots faster. If you give it some of those things, it's probably still gonna grow, just not faster. All right, so we covered the node, we covered the aerial root that was there, and this soil's already a little bit damp. When I'm potting up, I like to just moisten my soil a little bit so it's not soggy, but it's a little bit moist. Next, water propagation. Pretty simple, like that. That's gonna go on my windowsill. propagation with sphagnum moss. So with sphagnum moss, it's really important that all the water is squeezed out. I have made the mistake before of not getting the sphagnum moss dry enough and my plant rotted. So, I mean, sphagnum moss holds so much water. You just feel like you just keep squeezing. Okay, well, one more drop. All right, so I am gonna add a few rocks to the bottom of this one, and the reason I'm gonna do that is just so I can see if there's moisture, if there's water sitting in there, because if there's water sitting in there, then that's bad, and it means that my plant is gonna rot. So after I squeeze it out, I'm gonna break it up. I don't want the sphagnum moss to be really tightly clumped. I think that's another thing that I've done in the past that has not been great for my plants. So this one, we're gonna make sure that that node is in there, although it will, the aerial root will grow if it's out in the air because it's an aerial root. And let's see. So I think that I would really love to know if anybody in the comments has done a test perlite against sphagnum moss to see which one grows faster. I've had some fast results with perlite. So within a week I had roots. But I'd like to know if people have done a test with that. All right, so this one is done. And this can sit next to my windowsill. I'm actually gonna show you what I did for the Blanchettii, which is still not rooting. It actually has not, it should be coming out of here soon. It has not been a week, but I'm super impatient. Some could say that's a fault. All right, so same thing, my perlite is not sopping wet. It's actually, there's no water in it when I pick it up. There is water at the bottom of this bag, but there's no water in the perlite right now. I'm sorry, the perlite's wet, but it's not like dripping water. So I'm gonna get that all around it, like that. And then with the perlite, I do have a piece of plastic that I put over it. And what that does is it allows me to not have to add water because the plastic will keep the moisture in. So, and I've shown this in another video with the Albo Monstera, where I did the same thing. And that one's going great. So this one is kept in the humidity dome with the Albo, but I'm going to add a heat mat. See if I can speed things up a little bit more. All right, so there we have our 3 cuttings. We've got sphagnum moss, soil, and water. And now we wait. So ideally within a week, I will have roots. Probably do an update then, and we'll see which one is doing better or which one's doing best. All right, so we finished propagating. Now we wait. If the soil dries out, I will mist it or spray it. If the water evaporates, I will fill it up, but also I'll try to change the water. And if the peat moss dries out, I'll give it a spray. I could also try putting a plastic wrap over the sphagnum peat moss to keep the moisture in. That's another idea. I hope you enjoyed this video, and please comment below on your favorite style of propagation. This is one of my favorite topics, so please indulge me. Subscribe and like this video. Take care. Bye, guys.